All right, and we're recording. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in and watching this. This is my or our two, three, fourth discourse of doing these. So, and my goal with doing these is to accumulate a lot of conversations with other targeted individuals so that we can try to find similarities with one another and also comfort in each other's stories. Because the more that we can hear other people give their testimony and their experiences, the more comfort we find in our own, because a lot of times we feel isolated, we feel alone, like something, we have no clue what's happening to us. And it's important to know you are not alone by any means, and that there is a wide community out there that's experiencing the same things that you are. And, feel free to reach out to us at any time. And again, thank you for watching and for your support in this venture. And tonight we have Ryan.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you for joining me. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while now. Especially, you and I started talking. Oh man, maybe like 8, 9 months ago,
Yeah.
and to watch your story unfold, over the past 8 months has been for me inspirational. Not only inspirational, but confirmation in my own experience with this, and how mine has been unfolding. And it's always important to me and and I'm sure to other people that are listening that I try to have conversations with people that have been going through this for a long time, and I know that you've been going through this for a long time, so we'll kind of get into that. And all right, so just starting off, real quick question: how long ago did this start for you? That the this whatever, however you want to describe yourself, just somebody that hears voices or targeted individual. We'll kind of get into the signs and symptoms and kind of walk me through what that was like.
Okay. I was shortly after my 40th birthday. And
Okay.
I was about 6 years ago. It's going on 6 years. And it's a long story on how they all started coming in, but I started off with three voices, two guys and a girl.
Okay.
They were pretty fucking nasty. They were putting you through hell. Every time you
Yeah.
go, they'd say how they're going to go in and kill your family while you're at work. They would, it's just constant shit like that. We kidnapped your daughter while you're at work all the time. They would always say,
Yeah.
they'd get you working. They kind of were working like they were the FBI at first. They're kind of
Mhm.
they were asking a lot of questions like they were fucking cops.
Yeah.
I say, hey, you guys sound like you're fucking cops to me. And we got going on that, and things just went downhill after that. I mean, they do real nasty shit. Like I'd be sitting upstairs. I call it Echo One Niner. It's totally different from how you hear them in your head. It sounds like they're right in the fucking room with you, or they're right outside your window. They do
Right.
that at certain times, and I think it's just a pressure on you. Well, I'd be upstairs, and they'd tell me we're downstairs raping your daughter right now. And I could hear a girl screaming. I'd run downstairs, and my daughter would be sleeping there, man,
Wow. You'd actually hear a girl screaming
screaming
with
like
it.
downstairs,
Wow.
different from where you hear them in your head. And then I'd sit there and I'd keep an eye on her for a little bit. And I'd go back upstairs, and they pull the same shit. You could hear a girl screaming, and I'd run downstairs, and she would be fine again. I mean, you go days. I mean, it was a hard time. I'll be honest with you. It was a
Wow. Yeah.
that they put you through.
So I also had I've had the same three consistent voices this entire time, and it's been two males and a female. And
Yeah,
I'd say the one male and one female sound very similar to my age, but then the other male sounds older, maybe in like his 50s or 60s. And I don't know if it was a title that I gave him or just because of the way that the inner dialogue would go, but it seemed like he was the one in charge and the other two kind of had to check in with him. But then as time went on, that whole role, changed.
see, that's how they kind of did it that way with me. It was two guys. They seemed like a little bit younger than me, and the girl
Yeah.
did too. But after I don't know, it might have been a year and a half, 2 years into it, an old man's voice came into it, and
Okay.
a very familiar old man's voice that came into it, and that's when they started playing the devil card and demons and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember that being a big part of your testimony from the Reddit post that I've read is in fact you've actually made Reddit posts like how you managed to deal with them playing the demonic role.
Right,
And yeah, so if you can, I know a lot of times it's very difficult to actually remember
right.
certain
For the
statements and free.
frame, hard to remember. I mean, you can remember what happened, but like the first 3 years kind of shuffles around quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So do you remember any like specific statements or phrases that they would repeat? over and over again.
Oh yeah, motherfucker. They always start the fucking sentence by saying, "Hey, motherfucker," or shit like that.
Yeah.
They sound. I mean, they got a lot of human traits to them. I mean, they laugh, the way they talk. I've even embarrassed them a couple times to where they kind of froze up. Like when they're doing that double. I don't have nothing against gay people. I never have.
Yeah.
But they were trying to pull that demonic shit, and they're getting ready to pull another smoke show. You could tell it was coming on. So I said to the one that I called mouth, I said, "Hey man, I'm pretty sure you're gay. Why don't you come out the closet already?" And he
Yeah.
kind of quiet, and I called the girl Sweet Batch. I said, "I got an idea. How about you put your dick in Sweet Batch's hand and see if it gets hard or not?" And
Yeah.
and they kind of froze up and they backed off for a while. I don't think they knew how to handle that. I mean, that's a very
Right.
human trait to be embarrassed or put on the spot like that.
I remember one time you told me that you told them all that they probably stand in a circle around a pentagram and circle jerk.
Yeah, when they're getting ready to do a smoke show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
I asked them what they
Humor is
want
a
to.
so you know what's weird is you're the first person I've ever spoken to that has actually heard them laugh. I have never heard my voices laugh ever.
You know what? After all these years of just going through hell, smoke show after smoke show, that's all we do anymore is we laugh, man. And it came to a changing point after just all this hardcore fucking shit all the time, every day. I wasn't really getting anywhere with it, you know. So I just started busting their balls like in a playful way, kind of like the pentagram shit. All right,
Yeah.
they'd say, "We're here for your soul." I said, "What the fuck? The devil having to push, pull, or drag stuff on souls? What the fuck you want with mine?" And they'd start,
Yeah.
started getting a little more, kind of just like you would fuck around with your friends when you're talking to them.
Right, right, right.
Get a little bit easier after that.
Yeah. So would you say, I mean, and I'm kind of, and this is just me and my personal opinion, but I used to always try to find some sort of a cause as to why this happened. And then I went on kind of like a journey of trying to find a common theme or a common denominator with everybody as to why this would occur. And it's so scattered. So it happens with some people just through deep meditation. They've never touched drugs or alcohol in their entire life. It happens with some people after they go through a divorce and they're under like constant anxiety or stress or guilt. It happens to some people because of, excessive drug use. And for the longest time, I thought that that was what had caused it with me was my drug addiction and my alcoholism. And then as time went on and I start looking back, I started noticing correlations of things that were happening in the present moment that go way past before, like I'm talking teenage years, that started making sense with this experience. And then you start going like, how long has this shit been going? Like, was I born into this? Is this just something that happens in the minds of everybody and only some people are exposed to it? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, where the voices came from.
Yeah, I mean, did you have like a thing that you thought started it, or do you have a theory on that now?
Uh, I was hanging around with some fucking guys, and there was this dude that I knew about 20 years back, and he got popped for manufacturing. And then when he was on bail, he got popped for manufacturing again. He went to
Yeah,
go federal time. Well, he got back out and fucking came to work where I was working. I ain't seen him in like 12, 13 fucking years. So we started hanging out a little bit. I'm over at his house, and he's got kids, and they're good parents, man. They take care of this kid. I believe if a kid's being abused, call DHS definitely. But they were good fucking parents. There was a guy on the phone, and he's saying, "Hey, this guy's trying to call DHS. Talk shit to him. Talk shit to him." I took the phone. I hung up and said, "What the fuck are you doing on the phone, man? Just go over there." Again, he's texting, talking shit. Looking back at it now, he's just trying to see how good I could talk shit. Is all that fucking was.
yeah,
So we get going off into this for a little bit, hang out a little more, and he wants me to go meet this fucking old man. I said, "All right, I'll go meet him." There's a guy that he did time with. So I go in there and I meet him, and I give him a handshake, and he looks me in the eye. He goes, "That's a hell of a fucking handshake." I'm thinking that's a little weird. Don't think much about it. Well, later on down the line, I don't know, fucking maybe a month after that, I go meet him again, and he wants to do a little bit of a fucking trade. So back then I used to party. I'm completely clean and sober now. I
yeah.
go,
Good for you.
I go in there, and it's a weird fucking situation. I go into the fucking living room, and he's got a desk set up here, and then there's a chair on the other side, and then there's a fucking table over here with a guy sitting on one side, and the guy I go in with, old boy, sits right across from him. And I kind of look back, and they look at each other, and I see a nod. What the fuck is going on? There's this little biker guy running around the fucking room. I'm keeping an eye on him. He's fucking everywhere, man. He's in the refrigerator. I'm thinking, are they going to roll me? I'm pretty sure they're not cops. Are they going to roll me? Seeing if he's grabbing a pistol or something out of the fridge, you know. Well, finally, me and the old man go in the back room. Do what we do. I leave. He goes to me. He goes, there's so much I want to tell you about what's going to happen to you. I fucking left.
Wow.
I left. I went back to old boy's house. He goes, see, you can trust me. You see how that works? I know how this fucking shit works, man. I've been running since I was 13 years old. I know how shit works.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 weeks after that, I started hearing fucking voices.
Wow.
And then it was 2 guys and a girl. And then after a while, like I said, it was that old man's fucking voice that came in when they started saying,
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, because I read your last post that you put on Reddit where you had an experience where one of the voices had said something to you. What was it? It wasn't about the Harley, but the post was, it was
oh,
pretty much,
they do
yeah.
that.
So do you think, okay, so first of all, go ahead and describe that for people that didn't read that post, because I found that very interesting. And then after you describe that, do you think that maybe that could correlate into what that guy said to you before you started hearing the voices, as if maybe he was being manipulated and didn't even realize what the hell he was saying?
I think we're all being manipulated, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know we are. I know we
but
are.
that's the bumping heads factor, and you got to be very careful with this shit. I know, like when they're getting tough with me all the time, I say, "I'll fight all you motherfuckers with no shoes on. I don't give a fuck."
Yeah.
I'm at work a week later. Here comes this big dude coming down the fucking street, got his shoes in his fucking hand, walking down the fucking sidewalk. I can see him talking to himself, going, "Where the fuck you at? Where the fuck you at?" They're trying to get us to bump heads like that. That's how I realize that these voices are communicating. The same thing
So you're
happened.
saying that your metaphysical company is trying to bump heads with somebody else's metaphysical company.
I'm saying he's hearing voices in his head, and I'm hearing voices in
Yeah.
his head, and they're working together and trying to get
And they're
us.
working together.
Yes.
Yeah. See, and I hear this a lot. And when I do hear this, I think that this may be one of the underlying causes to gang stalking, because you see a lot of videos where people will, they start recording somebody that's gang stalking them, and then it's like the person that they're recording, they're bewildered. Like it's almost like they don't even know why the hell they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like things like
Yeah.
that, just they happen quite a bit until I caught on what was going on, and then it doesn't happen so much anymore.
Okay. So, all right. So walk me through your experience a little bit further. So it started off very, very negative, right? And I know that, what was it, back before the summer, you really put your foot down and you said, that's it. I'm going to ignore the voices.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like things really started to change for you. And I'm really interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, that did. After, so long with the fucking shit, I just said, you know what? I'm just not going to respond to anything they fucking say.
Right.
I did that. And after a week or two, you could still hear them really clear. And I just kept doing it, kept doing it. After about 3 weeks to a month, they started getting more faint, kind of like if you're at a party and you could hear people talking across the room, but you couldn't really make out what they were saying.
Yeah.
And the longer you went with it, the more it got blocked out like that, to where I could barely even ever hear. I think it was up to 4 months over through the summer. I know it was when I took the kids to that music festival. Still, it was still going.
Yeah.
And then, but once you start talking to them, it's like you never fucking stop, man. You're right back in
Yeah.
the loop again.
Yeah. So how are you doing with it now? Like where are you at with all this now?
I'm doing fine. I'm just living my fucking life. I go to work, raise a family, I don't let nothing get in the way. And like I said, we went through a lot of shit. And I'm just gonna throw it out on the line. What I fucking think it is. I think there's people that work with an energy, man, and I really fucking do. And this energy can connect you like a router. So these people that are talking shit are real fucking people. And this energy acts as a router and connects you. And these people that are talking shit, their job is to get you worked up, because this energy, if you have fear, if you have hate, if you have I'm gonna get you, it it's like throwing gas on the fucking fire, man. And this energy can act. It's like uses your eyes as a projector, man. I can see shit that's right fucking in front of me, and it looks real until you grab it, and then you go through it. And if you're looking at a window or a hard surface or anything that throws a reflection, it works really good like that too.
Yeah.
It can be some intense shit until you fucking actually try to grab it. And if you're scared to grab it, get a laser pointer. Laser goes right through it.
Yeah. You've had some, and I remember from you sharing, you've had some some pretty cool like paranormal experiences with this as well, and which I also have had. And some of the paranormal experiences that I've had with this, I just, for the life of me, man, I cannot come up with a human explanation.
Yeah,
I just can't. I mean, I'm talking, dude, I'm talking full-blown apparitions, like a blue apparition in my bedroom touching me with a vibratory touch.
yeah,
Uh,
what it is.
orbs, white orbs flying over my head. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know you've experienced some of this stuff.
Yeah, that actually was just like 3 weeks ago. I get up pretty early to go to work, and so I was sitting in the front yard and fucking having a cigarette, just not too far away, right in the trees. I can see the two orbs sitting there. So I take my lighter,
Yeah,
flash it a couple times, and it flashes back. Who knows, man? That just when you
yeah,
think it can't get any weirder, it does.
right. I know, right? So, I mean,
That's
but I've been down that road. So, I recently came up with some steps, and they're just suggestions for people, after speaking with a lot of targeted individuals and people that hear voices, or any sign and symptom associated with that targeted individual phenomena, and some of the very necessary steps that everybody, collectively, said that, like, people that have a lot of experience, like, this is what we had to go through to kind of get to homeostasis, mental homeostasis, where we're at now in life. And you know the first one, the very first step, and this was the most important for me, is admitting that I don't know, because I have beliefs, like I have a lot of beliefs, and I've believed everything under the sun. I've believed everything from an ex-employer to demons, and then everything in between, so it's like, but I don't really know. I don't, there's nothing I can really say, like, I know for a fact that this is it, because the second that I grab onto something that I say, I know that this is it, I'm inevitably proven wrong every time. They go, yeah, yeah, you think that's it? And then they do something crazy that I'm like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. Or, like, it's like, damn, every friggin' time. So eventually I just got to a point where I said, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. And it's not that I'm not that smart. I'm just that ignorant. I don't have the knowledge to know.
right.
And, and that's getting that train of thought going in my head, has been very, almost like, relieving for me. It's like, you learn to be content within your own confusion.
Uh,
Yeah. So, all right, no, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
it's just like you're saying, always something different, always something new, something bigger. It was over Easter weekend, and I faded to black for 3 days straight. And I mean, it was going pretty hard. It was smoke show after fucking smoke show. And I hear the bells, they sound more like gongs, the big bells, and they're louder than fuck. They're boom. So I go outside to see what's going on. There's a tall guy with the antlers and the skull, hold the book. I keep telling him I'm not going to have nothing to do with this devil shit or nothing like that. Walks down the stairs, off into the face off in there. Later on, I'm laying in bed and I see my arm right here cut open, and blue stuff fizzes out of it. And there's this face that's right up here at the ceiling. I don't know why it looks like a Roman statue kind of face. I just know it's a
Yeah.
I just know it's a woman. And it comes down and I put my hand out and I could feel it. And what looked like across the ceiling was six like dark black souls witnessing this. And ever since then, things have been pretty good, man. I think
Wow.
I think it's just a test to see who the fuck you are, and then once they find out you're a good loving person, things
Yeah.
opening up in a good way. Actually,
Dude, I 100% agree with that. I hold pretty firm on my belief that they exist for us to overcome. Like, that's their purpose. They don't really mean harm, but they'll put on a display, an orchestration of fear. But you have the winning hand. And they want you to know that you have the winning hand. Like, we all go into this thinking we have, like, like, no winning hand whatsoever, but we hold a royal flush the entire time. And what they want you to do is to play your hand against all odds. And then we have that sense of overcoming, like, then we have that. I mean, now it's all a manipulation, right? It's all a manipulation of the mind and our senses and our perception. Although some of it does actually happen in our environment. Um, but we're still meant to overcome that manipulation, because if you look at the word manipulation in itself, right, it's a pretty neutral word, because manipulation can be a good thing too. Whenever we pray to God, God, please help me get this job. God, please, help my wife get pregnant. God, please, we're asking God to step in and manipulate the minds and bodies of other human beings so that we get our way. And when we get our way, we don't mind manipulation because who the hell's going to cry over good shit happening, right? But when negative stuff happens to us, well, now all of a sudden it's voodoo and it's demon oppression and it's witchcraft and it's demon, but it's all metaphysical manipulation. But when negative metaphysical manipulation occurs and we can overcome that despite our deep-seated fears, that's still overcoming.
Right.
That's still a triumph. That's
And
still a victory for us.
one thing I
You know
was,
what I mean?
buddy, is never be scared or intimidated into being something.
Never. Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, man. So, and I had some other questions here written down. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight, man. I really appreciate you giving me your time and doing this. Let's see. All right, so for some people that may just be getting into this and are very confused. So can you give them some advice because you went through this for years and you went through some really scary shit. Like I know just speaking with you from personal experience. Like what are just some words of advice that you can give to people so that they can get through the fear basing and because my goal with the community that I run is to restore I want I want people back into a community, families.
Right.
You know what I mean? Restoration. That's my goal with all of this. I don't really care about any of the other bullshit. Parents need to be with their children and children need their parents. That's what matters, right?
Right.
So so what are some advice, some words of advice?
Well, the biggest thing, man, is just don't come hard. They're gonna do everything to fucking piss you off to get you fucking worked up. And the more you come at them hard, the more shit gets intense. I mean, that from doing that from day one, and then I progressed to seeing all these things and so on and so on. There's definitely got to be an easier path than the one I took. So
Yeah.
just be mellow, man. It's a mind fuck. They're gonna say some nasty fucking shit to you. Just fucking play it off. Have fun with it. Laugh at it. Turn it into a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Don't let
Now,
it.
when this first started with you, were you act because my drug of choice was methamphetamine. I never hide that fact.
But
But it wasn't until, and I would always experience for years, probably for about 3 or 4 years prior to getting sober, they would come for about a week and then really screw with me, and then they'd leave. And
oh,
then they would come for a week and then they would leave. And then when I got sober, July 28th of 2023, that's when boom, they came 24/7. The day that I got sober, they were almost as if to say, like, we're going to make sure you never go back to that bullshit again. And they ran like an exposure therapy program on my ass. But it wasn't until after I got sober that they did that. And I've been sober ever since that point. So, how's your sobriety doing? And,
my sobriety.
and
I mean, right now my sobriety is great. I mean, I used to party a lot back
yeah,
before all this started, but yeah, it's been really good. And that shit is, like I said, like throwing gas on the fire too. I mean,
absolutely.
this makes things worse. My voices have been here since day one, no break. I
No break.
never leave. It's all day long. We rock and roll all day long. Always have. I mean, I felt that old man leave my body. He's gone now. That voice is gone. And that girl stops in every now and then. It's mostly just the two guys now. But I was in
Okay.
the kitchen and I felt this big fucking vibration just go through my fucking body. And I dropped to a knee and I thought they were fucking with me. So I got up. I was like, I don't feel nothing and walked it off. Never heard his voice again after that. Through mutual friends that I know, I found out that that fucking old man that I was talking about died. He's gone now. I haven't heard it
Wow.
since, and I felt that motherfucker die. I felt him
Yeah.
bleed. People ain't gonna believe it until you're in my shoes, and then you kind of understand it a little bit.
Well, this is a way to help people get into your shoes,
Right.
like doing these types of interviews and, you know, they're awesome. I mean, these things are great. You wouldn't believe the type of response I get back from people like, man, keep doing these discourses with people, because people relate heavily to these things. So how are your eyes doing? I remember you said that you went through a period where there was almost like a glass sheen over like a mirror effect
Yeah.
over your eyes that had occurred. Can you explain that and what that was like? And
It's,
what do you think?
well, like before I go to bed and everything at night, when I close my eyes, you go places, you never know what you're gonna fucking get. As soon
Yeah,
as before I go to bed, you kind of shoot out. But that's more like when I'm relaxing and I just fade out and everything kind of almost goes like kind of like kaleidoscope, like pixels.
Yeah.
and think there is a really beautiful side to this shit. Once you get through all this dark, nasty shit. Like the other day, I was sitting in the living room. I said, "You know, the best feeling I ever felt in my life is watching all three of my kids be born. There's never been a feeling like that."
Yeah.
Right? And for like 7 seconds, I felt that fucking feeling. It was that.
You relive that feeling.
It
Yes.
was that feeling. I've only had it 3 times in my life, and it was just like just for 7 seconds, it was just oh, and it's
Yeah.
crazy how that shit works, man. Because I
It's
never.
amazing how they have that ability
Right.
to do that. Like they can go back like that and grab and harness the emotion that's attached to that memory and poof, and bring it right. I've experienced that. And it's a beautiful thing. They did it to me one time. So I was very heavily involved in church when I was like 24, right? And I was on fire for God. Like I was doing mission trips to Haiti. Like I was very spiritually in tune. And then I fell off the wagon. I started doing drugs and drinking and just, making my life a mess. And I remember one day, right? The negativity, they're going, and there's just such derogatory, racist, bullcrap statements all the time in my head. And then it stopped. And then they took that moment from when I was like pure in mind and doing the right thing and it was clear and in my walk and spiritual walk. And then boom, they gave it to me and everything went away. And I remember, and this was very weird because I was under such oppression of derogatory statements. My mind got into the state of seeking them, like searching, like it didn't feel right unless I was searching it. And when that went away, and I immediately recalled that it was back to a time when I was 24, 25 years old, but my mind flipped out. It still wanted to look for the derogatory statements, but that's what it was. It was like they cleared my mind out immediately and brought me back to a time when I had that peace that transcends all understanding. And then immediately, boom, they came back again with the negative impression. And then, I mean, that was a long time ago. That was about a year ago. And throughout the past year, I've had to work. I've had to really put the work in to get back to that. It hasn't been until the past I don't know, a few months now that it's been a very slow withdrawal. As a member, in the community said it very eloquently. He said that pendulum sways for a while with these voices leaving. And it's been months and months and months. But now I would say I mean, these days, 80% of my day is in complete silence. I feel it. Yeah. I feel it the worst in the morning. When I first wake up, I have that high pitch ringing
Yeah.
going on in my head.
Oh,
Yeah. Constant. Like it's like pressure, right?
yeah.
And then the voices are there. And then I just, I go through it and then it goes away in about a half an hour. And then the rest of the day is silence. They might poke their heads in like,
Oh,
you know, yeah, a couple times throughout the day, but then that's it.
you ready
I
for it?
stopped. Yeah, well, I stopped fighting with them. I realized I'm like fighting with myself with this whole thing. And that's really what it came down to with me is like I got the notion in my head that I was in quicksand, and the more I was thrashing around, the more I was just sinking. So I learned to just kind of sit and be still. And I tell them, like, I'm not fighting with you. Like I say, I have nothing for you. I don't need anything from you. I'm very content with who I am, and I have no fight with you. And that was my mantra over and over and over again. I just, it is what it is. Like I don't care if you come or you go. It doesn't matter to me. And then that's what it was. And once I stopped giving a shit, they stopped giving a shit and just yeah, it was pretty cool.
Good for you.
So yeah, yeah. So, all right, and we can, unless you have anything else that you really that's been, pressed upon you, or that you really wanted to kind of relate to a listening audience that may listen to this immediately or stumble across this in the future that you really want to get out. You know,
We'd be here all night, man, if we did that. So,
yeah, yeah. All
yeah.
right, Ryan, dude, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Take it easy.
All right, buddy. All right, have a good night, man.